over here in the bottom right, we have a guy named Short Stuff, but he's actually not short. But actually, Alicia is a little bit short on the short side. I'm actually really Andre. How tall are you?
5'9".
5'9". Yeah, I'm like 5'14", a little bit. No, I'm like 5'9" too. So
5'14".
But
nice.
he's not short by any means in terms of his play. He is none other than SlayerSAlicia.
I think the Short Stuff is alluding to trying to be cute type of deal, you know.
Could be, man. Or maybe Sella did it as a joke, because Sella does manage a lot of the accounts.
Sella.
In the top left, we have none other than ThorZaIN Marcus Eklof from mouz.ThorZaIN, the Green Terran. Now, Andre, what are your predictions for this match real quick?
All right. Well, I think ThorZaIN is going to 2-0. Wow,
really?
Bold prediction, right, Greatar? Bold prediction. Let me explain. ThorZaIN is a monster. He smashes Koreans for lunch, breakfast, dinner, after lunch, second dinner.
Fourth meal. Taco Bell's fourth meal.
Everything, man. This guy is so good, especially TVP. I feel like he's a TVP specialist.
Yeah, 62% win rate.
Yeah.
And actually, he has a winning record against Alicia, 2-1. And, you know, in his general past streak, he's been 10-1 against every Protoss he's played. That's an 89%. You're the math major. 89%?
That is,
80,
yeah, 89%.
Yeah. Good, man. I passed 4th grade.
Good job, man.
Look at that.
No,
but I'm actually going to go ahead
91, I'm sorry.
Is it 90? Oh, you're right. It is
91. I was thinking
91.
I'm
so silly.
I'm so silly, too.
Well,
anyway.
I'm going to predict Alicia's going to take it, though, because I feel like he's got familiar with ThorZaIN once, and the biggest thing with Koreans is they're not familiar with foreigner styles. A lot of times, especially Europeans. Europeans are very strong players, and they're not really familiar. So Alicia, I would say he's going to take it 2-1. And he is scouting. He sees everything from ThorZaIN. Now, it is a gaseous expand here, while we do see Nexus first from our Protoss player.
Yeah, and I think Nexus first on Antigua Shipyard is a great opening. A lot of times you won't be able to do this on ladder because it's a little bit cheesier, but ThorZaIN, he is more of that macro-style Terran. He likes to go towards that later game stages. So I think Alicia read that, and he's like, okay, I can easily take a fast Nexus without going any gateways, and I'll be completely fine.
Look at his transition, though. He's getting a forward. This is what we saw out of GSL.
Yeah.
And in fact, we saw Oz pull this off, and Hero pull this off earlier this week.
Hero did it against Ryung.
Yeah, we've been practicing these builds too on ladder.
I smash face with this build on ladder. Okay, so let's explain it a little bit.
Okay.
The Forge fast expand. The Forge is good because it basically says, okay, my opponent doesn't have gas. I'm not really worried about Marauders. It's mainly Marines. Well, cannons eat Marines alive. So you can get that really quickly. See this double gas? It's to get a really quick +1 armor. The +1 armor enables you to stop any pushes because, let me tell you, if you have an early +1 armor, Zealots don't die. They're actually immortal.
With the Guardian Shield, they reduce the damage even further. It's absolutely insane. And there used to actually be a huge timing back with Zealots and Immortals and +1 armor, but yeah, the fact that he's going to get it really quick just means that he's going to be safe against anything that ThorZaIN tries to do early on. And then sometimes they even go for a really fast +2 armor, but oh, I love this play. Look at what ThorZaIN is doing.
Yeah, ThorZaIN's going the 3rd command center. Now, a lot of times you do this in response to a fast expanding Protoss like this when you go Nexus first. It's because Protoss can't do any damage in the beginning stage. So it's like you're one-upping the person constantly. It's like, oh, you're not going to do any pressure, so I'm not going to do any pressure. I'm going to do a build that really is greedy in that macro area. Well, ThorZaIN's one-upping Alicia this time.
This kind of reminds me before they cast out. Bitter was like, man, or Morgan was like, I can do 5 push-ups. Can you do 5 push-ups? And Ben's like, I think I can do 20 push-ups. And Andre...
I can't believe I actually denied that.
Like, I can do 70 push-ups. And normally you up the ante by like 5, 10, but he upped it by 50. And then they put a bet like, okay, Andre, I'll give you $100 right now if you can do 50 push-ups. Not even 70. And Andre's like, oh, I'm so tempted.
God,
and he stands there and he says,
I couldn't believe I chickened out.
No, man, I think I'm not going to do it.
Well,
he like walks away.
Okay, my
like,
fighting weight is 30 pounds lighter right now than I am and I've just been so shit. I'm not even going to go into it. Let's get into the game. God.
Too embarrassed to even recall.
I am so embarrassed right now.
Oh man, ThorZaIN does catch the probe. Now the question is, will he scout for that pylon? And of course, Alicia keeps that pylon just for options in case he wants to ever pressure. But for the most part, yeah, he's chrono boosting out Warp Gate, getting his +1 armor as well as a second gateway. Now there's a lot of ways to transition out of this, but I like the fact that he's going for gateways first. It's just more a safer option. We saw Hero go for a really fast Twilight Council and +2 and charge, which was really greedy.
Yeah.
But I like this.
Well, the gateway follow-up should be pretty standard. Normally, when you're getting this investment with the +1 armor, you need to actually have it yield something. If I have 2 Zealots out in the field, which he actually has no units on the field. But anyway, if you have no units out in the field, what good is this +1 armor? It does absolutely nothing. So getting these mass gateways like this, or at least, what is this, 4 at a time right now, that's completely fine. I think this is a completely standard build. ThorZaIN doing the same thing, getting his barracks up and just starting up his stim.
And ThorZaIN is actually getting third gas really quickly as well. So, you know, Andre, you're the resident Terran player. What's the third gas implications?
Well, it's actually just what you need to sustain everything at this point. When you get all the add-ons and you get your, you know, mass upgrades, whether it be stim, combat shields, concussive shell, +1 weapons, factory starport, all that stuff, you need 3 gases. Especially when you're burst spending everything. Now, you saw ThorZaIN wait off for quite a long time until he got any upgrades, but then he spent them all at once. That's what I'm talking about, the burst style of spending your upgrades. So you need 3. He's going up to 4. That means he's sticking on 2 base for a little bit longer. He does have that command center, but he's just mass spending at this point. He's just trying to develop his army as much as possible right now.
Yep, and you know, ThorZaIN actually hasn't really re-scouted Alicia whatsoever, and you understand that there is a moment that he could be pressured before important upgrades like stim, which is about halfway done, +1, another really important upgrade. So he's actually sitting back. Now this is an interesting transition here, as we do see that Twilight Council is about to finish, so he's going to try to see if he can go for Blink. Now that's a very curious upgrade, because sometimes we see a fast charge transition, but a Blink transition, Andre, what are your thoughts?
I'm not sure about that. Blink seems really weird at this point. You know, I don't know what the purpose of Blink would be. The only thing I can think of is to get rid of things in the main. Okay, let's go over the prerequisites to get into the opponent's main. You need control of this position. Now, you know, that Blink is going to finish maybe 12 minutes into the game. Will you have control of this position? Probably not. No, Marines and Marauders technically get a lot of map control when it hits 11 minutes, 12 minutes around there, so you don't have the capacity of actually going over there. It might be just defensively, but even defensively, I feel like there's better options than Blink Stalker.
Ooh, we do see that Alicia spots the army moving out here from the bottom of the natural ramp. Medivacs are out. Stim just finished. Combat shields also momentarily finished, as well as +1. So ThorZaIN has a very nice stim time he can hit. Blink's about to finish as well, though. So the question is, will he be able to hit before that effective upgrade to keep the Stalkers alive?
This is precisely the problem with going Blink. You're actually coin flipping. You're saying, my opponent is going to be doing harass, not a big push. If he does a huge push, which if ThorZaIN goes up into this natural, then he's going to be experiencing a lot of troubles because he has no charge. Charge is the one that gets rid of pushes a lot faster.
Yeah, and charge is just starting as well. +2 is still about halfway done. Now, ThorZaIN's waiting a long time here, and I feel like his hesitation could end up costing him the effectiveness of his push. I mean, why is he pausing so long, do you think, Andre?
I have no clue. I think he's just content with taking map control. He knows
he wants
has
to get the third secure,
Exactly, and you can see he's saturating pretty nicely. Let's go ahead and look at the income tab. 65 harvesters to 56, so a nice little advantage there for ThorZaIN. He can actually sit back. He has the economic advantage. Sit back, get more units, and technically you can approach 200 faster than your opponent. You have more units, you win the armies.
And Alicia hasn't scouted with the Observer for the third. In fact, he just thinks that it was a 2-base stim timing push with Medivacs. And that's huge because he's going to play it as if he is taking the third at a normal time. And when in fact he's going to be economically behind, so he can't really do much here in terms of actual pushes. He's just moving out with his Zealot, trying to see if he can harass, but Apollon was discovered towards the left-hand side, so again, ThorZaIN shutting down a lot of options from Alicia.
Let's think where ThorZaIN actually figures his opponent is, and that's actually pretty difficult. ThorZaIN could be going against a huge array of things, but he knows for sure, actually he doesn't even know for sure if it's not, or it is or is not Colossus. So I'm kind of interested why ThorZaIN isn't going ahead and doing some light pressure just to check the army composition. That's normally what you do. Just try to drop little drops here. It reveals if it's Colossus, High Templars, whatever it might be, and then you get a good scan, whatever it might be. But it is in fact High Templars.
Yeah, and that's a normal transition when you go for this kind of build. It's just that Storm is about 30 seconds from finishing, but he does have 3 High Templar with his energy, and I mean with stockpiling energy, no Ghost out into the field at all. And so ThorZaIN does take out the Observer, a very key thing indeed, but looks like Alicia's gearing up here. He finally spotted the third, and he's going to start working on his debris here.
This is a really nice position for Alicia to be in. If he's able to get up into this top, he will be ahead just because those Storms are empowered. You have to attack into small little areas. So ThorZaIN actually wants to meet this out in the middle of the map, but he's not going to. A late scan is going to reveal a very bad situation.
Oh, he's trying to try flank with some units as well, but the force fields do trap out the front army from the front. The Marines and the Moss from back do get stormed here, so nice zoning off, and the third is in trouble here, Andre. Looks like we do see the lift, and a lot of SCVs are going to go down. And we do see more high Templars, but good snipes from ThorZaIN, disabling a lot of the casting ability of the Storms. Alicia forced a force field and evacuate immediately.
That weakens the Protoss army significantly. You're going to see all these Marines and Marauders coming from behind, flanking out the Zealots and the Stalkers. And will he get enough kills right here? A good job so far.
He picks off one sentry, but for the most part, the losses are purely Zealots, which is not the worst thing for Alicia. He can just fall back. He does have a couple more reinforcement. High Templar is going to be a while, though, before they have Storm.
Yeah, he should be able to get enough time, though. ThorZaIN is going to reinforce his control in the center of the map. I like what he's doing. He should never have left there, I think. That positioning, that space is one of the most important things when you're dealing with Protoss. Don't give Protoss space, because if you do, you start to engage on their terms, not on your terms.
Yeah.
And with, obviously, High Templars, with Colossus out in the field, that could be very troublesome.
ThorZaIN takes out the Observer again, a very key thing to spot where the Ghosts are, especially you can time where the EMPs are going to land. ThorZaIN, does he have Cloak on his Ghost? He normally does, but he actually does not have it just yet, just starting it. And ThorZaIN's going to engage anywhere, going to pick off one of the High Templars. Another big play from our Terran player. Is he going to be able to pick off another High Templar? Looks like Storm is used preemptively, but again, ThorZaIN is a pretty big advantage, especially in supply.
ThorZaIN should do the exact same thing that Alicia did to him. Go up this ramp. Oh, he needs to be careful, though. Big Storm goes off. It's not able to kill anything. He's just going to wait and heal up with those medevacs, but go into this bad position, force the engagement, and get your Ghosts to have beautiful EMPs.
I want to emphasize that ThorZaIN's actually down in workers, and the fact that he has more supply means his army is massive. And the Ghosts and Marauders are doing some good damage. Marines are stiffing, and they're running straight into a Storm, taking a lot of damage. Look at the Marines in center dissipate as we do see more Storms again, and it looks like Alicia's going to push back the entire enemy army into the corner of the third. Alicia is only reduced to Stalkers, though, and the Marines and Marauders should be able to clean up, but a lot of them are in the red.
My God.
Very close battle, but in the end, ThorZaIN's supply is ahead.
The third goes down, and that's going to be a beautiful advantage for ThorZaIN. This positioning is fantastic. Now additional Ghosts are going to meet up here. Probes are being pulled. Bad Storm, excuse me. And look at that. Alicia's getting shredded to pieces.
Cloak finishing just in time also to pick off another set of Templars. And ThorZaIN is doing massive amount of damage there, as these Cloak Ghosts are now starting to even work on the third re-expansion attempt. Now keep in mind, ThorZaIN during this whole time has been transitioning as well. He's expecting a Colossus transition. He's been making Vikings. Beautiful prediction and play thus far from ThorZaIN.
Yes, the Colossus are one of the most instrumental units to get when you're seeing a mass Marine Marauder Ghost army.
Yes.
But if Vikings are prepared, that is great foresight by ThorZaIN, and he's going to be able to deal with those Colossus very easily. You can see ThorZaIN is just going to play it safe, taking the center control, taking additional bases, and I think ThorZaIN is gearing up to just have an attack that can never be killed.
Man, I mean, Alicia just had a good engagement, but just not enough, because he was down 30 supply. But that was without discounting the worker advantage, so you could see how much ThorZaIN had advantage getting that third undetected. Right now, he's making 4 Vikings at a time. These Colossus are not going to be effective whatsoever. And of course, the big thing we want to say, though, is that ThorZaIN controls the center. So again, Alicia's playing a lot in the dark right now. He doesn't know where ThorZaIN's going to strike.
And not only that, ThorZaIN, he has the production capabilities of doing whatever he wants. I mean, he has enough barracks, enough starports. He actually has 2 starports. I wish I could find them. I can't find the second one, but I know he's producing 4 at a time. That is awesome. I mean, he's geared up to defend against anything that can be thrown at him. That's one of the most important things to do when you are playing late game TVP.
Now, I like what Alicia's doing. He's trying to send some Zealots here. Now, I mean, +3 armor Zealots are absolutely ridiculous. They're a real terror to deal with late game, and so having them as harassment is a pretty nice thing, but wow, looks like the refinery almost died there, but we do see that ThorZaIN does deal with it accordingly. And Alicia, I mean, during this whole time, he's just been sitting back here, waiting for +3 to finish. And I like the fact that ThorZaIN's able to catch up on upgrades and actually take a lead, which was pretty interesting because Alicia started off with that force pretty early.
I'm not sure why ThorZaIN is being so chillaxed. I think he should try to put on the pressure. I'm sure everybody has seen at home TVPs where the Terran is monstrously ahead. You let the Protoss get to 200, and then it's like one battle, and it's like, oh, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks. I think ThorZaIN should be attacking pretty soon. There it is. He scans forward, takes out that observer, and he's going to press on.
And we do see a couple Archons here to absorb a lot of the EMP blows, but again, there's a lot of ghosts. ThorZaIN's been able to retain his ghost. That's a big play. The Vikings are after the Colossus, but Alicia does blink forward to push him back. And again, ThorZaIN, he's been landing very good EMPs and getting good engagement positions. He's going to try it again up the ramp of the third.
Yep, again, the best possible situation for ThorZaIN. He's getting into this little tiny area where EMPs are going to be strongest. And look at this. Ooh, nice storms coming out from Alicia, but I don't think it'll be enough. All he needs is a couple critical EMPs, and it's over.
Ooh, and he's jumbling up again. It's kind of an awkward position. The Vikings are flying straight to the storms. No, ThorZaIN losing a lot of supply there, but there are a lot of ghosts ready for EMPs. The big thing is, though, he hasn't sniped them, so he can still turn into Archons, as we do see ThorZaIN still with decisive supply advantage. But Alicia waiting for 3 Archons here. Is he going to try to push up against his army? They have a superior concave. Kind of awkward spot. ThorZaIN is able to get a good engagement. Zealot's finally charging in, but ThorZaIN just has way too much here. Greetorp, as right now Alicia's dying.
Everything's bottlenecked. That's really good for Marines and Marauders, bad for Zealots, bad for Archons, also bad for Stalkers, you know?
Bad for everything.
Yeah,
I mean, he's not able to get anything. GG.
And that's going to do it. So ThorZaIN's going to take the first win. Congratulations to him. He looked really good, superior over his opponent,
Very
Alicia.
good. And again, that just goes to show you that, you know, his move out was really good fake. Because he made Alicia feel like he's going to go for a 2-base, but Alicia wasn't diligent with his observer scout.
Yeah.
Didn't see the third and thought he's taking a third at a natural time. Fell way too behind.
He misread that completely.
Yeah.
And I feel like going back to the blink charge discussion, I feel like going the blink actually puts him behind quite a bit.
Oh,
and the main reason is because, you know, ThorZaIN wasn't going for a harass-heavy style.
Yeah.
That's normally what we see from Terran versus Protosses, but ThorZaIN really isn't a player that does that a lot. He went for just a beautiful composition and tried to outdo his opponent at that micro stage in the end. Knowing that, I feel like going for the push style and trying to claim a third and just relying on raw power from those Zealots would be much better. You have the upgrade advantage. Utilize that. Make that a really, really big importance in your game. He didn't do that. He went for Blink, which is a lot more defensive. It cuts you from getting a third for about, you know, whatever the time is, I think 2 minutes with Chrono Boost. And it really, really hinders your later game stages. So I think that was pretty critical for Odan.
Yeah.
And that's why, well, that was one of the components why Alicia lost that game.
We'll see if Alicia is able to turn around this series, but we must thank our sponsor for that game, Kingston HyperX. Thank you so much for supplying everything of technology, of SSDs, memory, as well as all kinds of gear. Check out KingstonHyperX.com. We'll be back with after a commercial with Alicia versus ThorZaIN game number 2. Can he tie it up? We'll find out.
Now, what's so awesome about this is if he gets one more win, I am right in my prediction.
Yeah, and that'd be the second time all week Andre's predicted
anything. All right, we've only casted twice together. Why you gotta be like that, bro?
Between Alicia and ThorZaIN. Now, it's interesting because, you know, actually I just read that Alicia faced against ThorZaIN earlier in the EG's Masters Cup, and he lost to him. Damn. And that's why their record history has been in favor of ThorZaIN. So ThorZaIN kind of has Alicia's number.
Well, it's only one series. Statistically, that's
okay. Yeah, that's very bad
irrelevant.
samples. What's the sample size for a simple random sample, Andre?
I think for a simple random sample. Oh God, you're killing me. It's 30.
You yelled at me for not knowing. I thought it was 100, and then you're like, no man, it's 30.
It's
and then you're 30. And then March said it was 21, and you're like, 1976.
No,
was 21.
Yeah, 1970 because it was born in like 1954.
How would you know what happened in 1976, man? What happened in 1975?
What didn't happen in 1975? Boom, headshot. Top left-hand corner, we have mouz.ThorZaIN as the green Terran. Bottom right-hand position, we have Short Stuff, a.k.a. Alicia from Team Slayers. He is spawning as the red Protoss. Alicia, you know, it's funny. When Alicia first came into the scene, I was like, oh, it looks like Princess changed his name and race.
Oh, you thought, it was one of those name changes. Actually, I thought Alicia was kind of like Marine King, because I was talking about it earlier with Bitter and saying how Marine King makes all these weird names like Claire and Brood War, and he became Ellen Page. And then I was like, oh, Alicia, is that another new name for Marine King? But Alicia, man, can he turn it around? It is Ohana. It is his Mac pick.
Yeah, I really like Ohana. Of course, it's on the Season 7 map pool. And
For ladder.
Thank you.
Yes.
And let's be honest, it's gotten a lot of good praise, I think, overall in the community. Just one thing, depots. We love lower depots on there, which I don't know if they actually use the NASL version. I don't know if they use the NASL version.
They should have, because we definitely did place depots at the bottom.
Yeah, it's not PVZ.
I mean, I don't think ThorZaIN's going to double bunker at the bottom with Reapers and Marines. Or will he? Man, maybe that'd be metagame breaking.
Dude, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, man. But, I mean, Alicia is going for the same build as he didn't get into one Forge after Nexus first. Andre, what happened in 1975? Wheel of Fortune debuted in 1975.
Yeah, I knew that.
No, you didn't.
Okay, who was the host?
I have no idea.
Bob Barker.
Bob Barker? He's the host of Price is Right. Yeah. I'm money with that. I actually tried to study trivia so I can play on Jeopardy one day.
Really?
And I failed miserably. I couldn't even beat Trivia Pursuit. I was so bad at that game.
Yeah, trivia isn't my strong suit.
I'm bad at board games in general. That's why I play StarCraft, man. We do see the Marine picking off the probe, and he sees the command center transition. So, I mean, it's pretty much expected, though. It's the same exact openings from both players and whatnot.
And how does ThorZaIN actually go about this particular game? Because does he actually know? Yes, he knows that it's Nexus first, and he's going to put down the third command center. Now, I want to talk about the strengths of this build because there's a lot of options you can go with the third command center. People might seem, well, you know, you become a lot more vulnerable to all-ins. And that's just because you delay your barracks for so long, you delay your gas for so long. This command center actually makes you a ton of money really, really fast because you can...
No kidding, Andre.
Well, let me just say it real quick because you can saturate your bases so much faster than normal, and then you just completely stop SCVs. And normally you never stop SCVs because you're like, oh, wait, I got to build up for my third base and try to get enough SCVs so I can expand later. You don't have to do that anymore. Just stop at, it's 16 SCVs per round, and then, of course, the 6 per the refineries. You stop and you just say, when I get my, when I'm prepared to get my third, I will. Let's focus all on units. You get a lot more units in that mid-game stage than normal.
Yeah, and the third here on Ohana is a little bit easier to defend compared to other maps in the map pool, like Dual Sight, for example. So, ThorZaIN going for that option isn't bad at all. He is transitioning with 2 more barracks. Now, how will Alicia approach this game differently? You know, he played really passive. He tried a little bit of light aggression, but in the end was not really doing anything. And he kind of sat back even with an upgrade advantage. And I'm wondering, will Alicia change his game plan, or is he going to just try to see if he can catch ThorZaIN at a timing?
You know, I'm really confused with this build because he went Robo and then Twilight Council. Normally when you're going Twilight Council and going for that blink, you go the Twilight Council immediately. You don't go for the robotics facility to basically say, okay, I'm already banking that my opponent isn't going for, you know, let's say Banshees, Cloak Banshees. I'm not going to prepare for that. I know they're going some sort of drop play. Let me prepare for that, get the required amount of units out. I just felt like Alicia didn't have enough units that whole game.
Yeah, I really felt it was behind. Too.
And I think it's because of his build order. It really didn't gear him up to defend against all the different things that ThorZaIN could have done. So if I had one criticism to say, go for the Twilight Council before the Robotics Bay, but he's not doing that. He's getting a faster third. This is very, very tricky.
Yes, and he is still getting the robotics as well. Now keep in mind, he actually has a Stalker outside the ramp that did poke up just for a second. He only saw a few Marines. And he says, all right, well, there's no sign of anything. So, in fact, I really suspect that he's going for the same exact build. That's why he gets the fast third Nexus. Very good read from Alicia. The question is his transition going to be as solid, because this puts him even less units than normal?
Well, in this position, Alicia has to just assume my opponent is not going for some sort of Cloak Banshee. So get the Twilight Council up, get the charge first, and just get a crap load of gateway units, because I think teching at this point really, really weakens you. For instance, if I tech up to Colossus... Now, yeah, Robotics Bay is out, or Robotics Facility is out. So I'm just going to eat my words.
Well, I mean, he's getting Observer out just to be safe again.
Yeah,
to track army movement.
I think that's weak, honestly. I think it weakens your army too much. And you won't be able to defend your third base based on movement that could happen with Medivacs over on this side and on this side. Ohana is a pretty spread out map in terms of expansions.
Yeah.
You can be thinned out very easily with Medivac drops, which are the most prevalent things in TVP. And I feel like if ThorZaIN actually sees this and identifies what's going on, he will be able to just outmaneuver his opponent.
Well, one thing that's different is we do see Immortals finally being promoted out here from Alicia, and he's also just checking for the third, which he doesn't see yet from ThorZaIN. Of course, ThorZaIN, he's doing what we said earlier, get a lot of SCVs and then grab that third as he moves out. Stim and +1, the same timings are lining up in the production tab, so ThorZaIN, again, the same exact mid-game setup. The only difference is that Alicia, this third is not discovered yet, is it, Andre?
No, it is not. ThorZaIN still has not identified this, so he's playing a lot more passive than he should be. All these units should be directly over here in his opponent's Xel'Naga tower. This is the biggest problem. ThorZaIN really hasn't been too diligent at checking, but here we go, the first SCV. If it can get over there, that'll be a big turning point, I feel, for ThorZaIN. If he can see that this Nexus is coming up, which he will, instantly his units should be pushed out, and he should be on the road just trying to do as much damage as possible.
First, he's going to make a pit stop and take out the Manor Pylon, blocking that expansion. Of course, Alicia sees all of this. He's going for 2 forges, and that means he's going to be at triple forge. Maybe triple upgrades, who knows, man? That'd be pretty cool, but for the most part, he's still pretty unit limited because he's going for a bunch of upgrades, +2, and Blink again. Andre, he's ignoring us.
I think charge should have been done by now. He went +1/+1 instead of going 0-2. Or +2 armor. I think +2 armor is just 10 times better than 1-1. And ThorZaIN might be in a really good position to take it right here.
Yeah, I mean, Alicia has 7 gates, but he can't really harvest it just yet. In fact, the stim is going to come before Alicia's prepared. The force fields are defensive, but it blocks his zealots. And he doesn't have Blink. He's only halfway done in +2. A perfect timing for ThorZaIN. In fact, he's got so many units. He is going to spread out his units, so very, very nicely. His medevacs are healing as well. I mean, Alicia doesn't look like he's got enough stuff here.
He doesn't have enough stuff. And look at this, units all the way on the right-hand side. He had to do that because he had to defend against potential drops. And now ThorZaIN's just going to bulldoze through, take out this third. This is very, very easy build for ThorZaIN. It looks so trivial, and it's because Alicia's build was not geared up for defending against what ThorZaIN was doing. Yeah,
I mean, Alicia did everything correct in terms of position, just, again, didn't have the right tools to fight that battle. So Alicia, at this point, what is he doing? He's transitioned to Templar Archives, realized he actually needs AoE because of the way ThorZaIN's set up. And ThorZaIN's just going to go ahead and take another 4th base, exactly similar to game number 1.
Oh, man. I'm just really, really sad that it's already this. I mean, the disparity is so crazy. 150 to 92. You can see Frodan. I mean, this factory is going to get in here, see everything that's going on. It's not even going to be shot down. These upgrades are super out of place. They should not be being made like this. I'm really sad about this game.
Yeah, well, it's pretty sloppy with triple forges. I mean, I guess Alicia was just... I mean, you could tell his game plan was to power it with these upgrades, but ThorZaIN picking the timings perfectly right before ThorZaIN or Alicia had anything. And he's going to, again, play defensive. He's going to wait for +2/+2 charge as well as his Templar to come out, while ThorZaIN finally getting his Ghosts out. His Ghost Academy is about to finish Mobius Reactor. So ThorZaIN, as he probably moves out with his 4th base, will probably even go for another timing. And yeah, he's moving out to the center of the map.
And here we go. It looks like they will meet up. These High Templars are in the front. Can they do enough damage?
They have no storm. It's just feedbacks and make it to Archons, probably damage sponge, but he's abandoning those Archons. And he doesn't have charge, that's why he's not engaging, and doesn't have any force field to kind of ditch. In fact, he has to blink and try to do a fire drill exit where first person out the door is the one that's safe.
Well, we're going to see...
That's a Chinese fire drill, isn't that? Everyone just dashes. I mean, fire drills, man, they practice one by one, man. I can say that.
Well, you can. Actually, technically, I can too.
Well, you're Malaysian, right?
I'm Malaysian. I'm a little bit of Chinese.
Malaysians can speak Chinese. Fun fact.
Well, and some Malaysians can speak Chinese.
Okay, well, a lot of them.
I can say bad words.
ThorZaIN scans and takes out the Observer as well. He's been really on top of that all series. Very, very key.
That's what you have to do. You don't want your Protoss opponent tracking all your movements, because that way you can, a lot of times, catch your opponent out of position. You have not premature, but I guess defensive High Templar storms. Those are really good. Like, you plant the storms where you think your opponent is going to be, dealing maximum damage when those big engagements happen. And you can also do mass feedbacks on medevacs, on ghosts, things like that, and catch your Terran opponent out of position.
ThorZaIN has 9 ghosts out into the field, and that's going to be disgusting amount of EMPs.
This is not going to end nicely for Alicia, I don't think.
Yeah, Alicia
Oh
doesn't
my.
even have Storm yet, so we can't even... Only thing to do is feedback and morph into Archons, basically, with these Templar. Or use them as the worst meat shield of all time.
Well, it looks like both players are gearing up, and ThorZaIN's coming in here.
And he's just going to scan to see if he can pick off some of those Templars. Because Snipe does pick off one.
And oh my god, money EMPs pretty soon.
Wow.
Where are they?
There, he does hit one of them. Two of them. The second one does whiff. And ThorZaIN, he just has way too much. He's maxed out against a 134 Protoss army. And Alicia, the third falls yet again. Look at how many units there are. Storm does drop on a lot of the units, but ThorZaIn realizes he's going to have to kite this army.
There it is. GG, ladies and gentlemen. ThorZaIN is going to take it 2-0. A very decisive win for ThorZaIN over Alicia. Kind of surprising. You know, I thought it... No, I didn't think it was going to be a lot
you said
closer.
ThorZaIN
I said it was going to be
2-0.
2-0 because that guy is amazing. His builds are so precise.
It's very good. ThorZaIN, I mean, he's been the feared Terran with preparation.
Yeah.
Especially Terran versus Pro. Why did I doubt him?
I know. What was your prediction again?
I said Alicia would win 2-1 because I thought he'd face him once, he'd be prepared. I said, you know, how Koreans are not used to foreigners. I shouldn't have doubted ThorZaIN. Marcus, I'm sorry, man. If you're watching, I apologize.
Well,
that was well done by him.
Yeah. I think it was just the build. The build in general is just a lot better and a lot more thought out than his opponent. Alicia had this build that he's all over the place. He's getting tech, he's getting these upgrades, and he's also getting a fast third. Well, if there's any pressure at all, you're dead.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Alicia crumbled under the iron fist of ThorZaIN. That game was brought to you by iBuyPower, the company responsible for powering NASL through all of our towers and our equipment, basically all the electricity. Thank you so much, iBuyPower, for having these beautiful lights coming on us.